My friends, the Pittsburgh Steelers this season have been surrounded by one big narrative, that they've gone all in. You've heard it, I've heard it, the national media keeps repeating it. But here's the truth, this isn't an all-in team. This isn't a Rams 2021 situation where the front office sacrifices tomorrow just to chase one ring today. What we're watching in Pittsburgh is something a lot more calculated, sustainable, and frankly, smarter. The front office under Omar Khan isn't mortgaging the future. They're redefining what it means to compete now without destroying what's next. Steelers Nation, if you believe in this vision, drop a like and let's flood the comments with a loud "Go Steelers, I believe." Let's start by breaking down the difference between a win-now mindset and an all-in one. Because yeah, every team that's all in is trying to win now, but not every team trying to win now is all in. Think about those Rams in 2021. They threw away draft capital like it was confetti, first-rounders, seconds, whatever it took to get Matthew Stafford, Von Miller, Odell Beckham Jr. They backloaded contracts, stretched the cap, built a super team for one mission, win a Super Bowl that year. And sure, it worked. But look what came after. The collapse was immediate. Missed playoffs, fire sales, roster decay, the cost of going all in. The Rams had to start over from scratch, lucky enough to have drafted well afterward to survive. But that's not how the Steelers have ever operated. Pittsburgh's DNA has never been about burning the future for one moment of glory. It's been about balance, consistency, and sustained contention. That's what Omar Khan and Mike Tomlin have doubled down on, a philosophy that blends the short-term push for a Super Bowl with the long-term vision that keeps this franchise at the top of the league's stability rankings. Look at the moves they've made this year. Bringing in Aaron Rodgers on a one-year deal, that's a win-now decision, absolutely. You don't sign a 41-year-old quarterback unless you believe he can win you a title. But that's not reckless. That's controlled aggression. Then, trading a second-round pick for DK Metcalf, that's a move for both now and the next 5 years. You've secured a top-tier wideout who's under contract for the future. Adding veterans like Darius Slay and Jalen Ramsey fits the same mold. Proven players who can elevate the locker room and deliver in January without costing the organization its draft flexibility or cap control. And speaking of the draft, that's where this entire philosophy shines brightest. While teams like the Rams or Saints were throwing away early picks, Pittsburgh was stacking them. Right now, they're sitting on 12 total draft selections heading into the 2026 offseason. 12, that's not what an all-in team looks like. That's the blueprint of a team that's both dangerous today and dangerous tomorrow. They've built a top 15 offense for the first time in years, averaging near 30 points per game. The defense, which looked shaky early, has re-emerged behind the adjustments of using Kyle Duggar and Jalen Ramsey in hybrid safety roles, tightening the run fits and controlling the middle of the field. This isn't a roster peaking for a one-year window. It's a machine being tuned for sustained excellence. Now, part of what makes this team's model so unique is how intentionally it was built to maintain flexibility. When Najee Harris, Russell Wilson, and Justin Fields walked in free agency, Pittsburgh didn't panic. They understood the compensatory pick formula and leaned into it, protecting their ability to reload through the draft. They made strategic trades, DK Metcalf, Jalen Ramsey, Jonnu Smith, without touching their 2026 capital. Even bringing in Rodgers didn't affect the comp pick setup because he came as a free agent, not a trade piece. Every move this front office made had two goals: improve now and preserve tomorrow. And that's the kind of discipline that separates contenders from the desperate. Let's not forget what this kind of thinking has produced for Pittsburgh historically. Since 1969, this franchise has had only 3 head coaches. All 3, Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher, and Mike Tomlin, are Hall of Fame caliber leaders. The Steelers are tied for the most Super Bowl victories in NFL history with 6. They're second in total wins, second in win percentage, and second in Super Bowl appearances. And the streak that defines them? 21 consecutive non-losing seasons, tied for the NFL record with Dallas. One more winning campaign this year and they'll own that record outright. That's not luck. That's culture, consistency, and commitment to sustainable success. Even in rebuilds, Pittsburgh never bottoms out. They don't do 3-win seasons. When they rebuild, they win 9 or 10 games doing it. That's what this philosophy delivers. And now, you've got Omar Khan, a general manager who's turning that blueprint into art. His drafting record speaks for itself. Broderick Jones, Joey Porter Jr., Keanu Benton, Darnell Washington, Nick Herbig, Troy Fautanu, Zach Frazier, Roman Wilson, all young core pieces who are not just developing but contributing right now. That's unheard of hit rate for a modern GM. Every single player he's drafted in the top 4 rounds has a role. Every single one. And that's why the Steelers didn't need to panic at the trade deadline. Sure, Jacoby Myers would have been a nice addition, a physical route runner who brings something different. Maybe some of us, me included, would have offered a 4th and 5th for him, but Khan held his ground. He protected those picks because he believes in his own process, and based on how his last few drafts have gone, he's earned that trust. The Steelers don't have to copy anyone's formula to win. They're doing it their own way, with a roster that blends youth and experience, a front office that plays chess while others play checkers, and a quarterback who, even at 41, has the leadership and poise to push this team deep into January. The combination of Rodgers' short-term presence and Khan's long-term draft capital creates something rare in today's NFL, a team built to win now and built to last. But here's the real question, Steelers Nation, do you believe this balanced philosophy is the right path? Should the team stay committed to this method, or should they push harder, risk more, and go truly all in for a championship run right now? Because when you think about what this front office has built, it's not just a plan, it's a mindset. Omar Khan and Mike Tomlin are walking a tightrope that few teams even attempt. They found a way to chase a Lombardi trophy without tearing down the foundation that's made this franchise one of the most respected in all of sports. That's not easy. Most teams that try to balance end up falling into mediocrity, too conservative to win it all, too impatient to build for the future. But Pittsburgh, they're threading that needle, and if they pull this off, it's going to redefine what team building means in the modern NFL. Think about how this locker room is built. Veterans like Aaron Rodgers, T.J. Watt, and Jalen Ramsey bring championship experience and leadership that can't be replicated. These are guys who've seen it all, big games, big moments, high pressure. They know what it takes to finish. But surrounding them is an influx of hungry, young talent that's been drafted and developed the Steelers' way. Players like Joey Porter Jr. and Nick Herbig don't just fill depth charts, they represent the future core. Troy Fautanu and Zach Frazier are shaping what could be one of the most physical and dominant offensive lines in football for the next decade. That combination, proven veterans and fearless youth, is the kind of chemistry that doesn't come around often. It's what turns good teams into great ones. And this season, we're already seeing flashes of what that balance looks like when it clicks. The offense, under Rodgers' command, has reached levels Steelers fans haven't seen in years, efficient, aggressive, and confident. The red zone woes that haunted previous seasons are disappearing. DK Metcalf has given this group a true WR1 presence, the kind of alpha receiver who changes defensive game plans. Jaylen Warren continues to be that spark out of the backfield, and the offensive line, rebuilt through Khan's drafts, is finally giving this team the stability it's lacked since the early 2010s. Every week, this unit looks a little more cohesive, a little more dangerous. On the other side of the ball, the defense has returned to form. That Colts game felt like a turning point, when the scheme adjustment to use Kyle Duggar and Jalen Ramsey in more hybrid safety looks unlocked the physical identity we all know this team for. Suddenly, the middle of the field is locked down. The run defense looks like classic Pittsburgh football again. And with T.J. Watt signed to that massive extension, a move that some thought was risky, you can see why it wasn't. What remains the heartbeat of this defense? The emotional tone setter. When he's on the field, everyone else plays faster, looser, and nastier. And having Ramsey out there, mentoring guys like Porter Jr., that's the kind of mentorship money can't buy. But even as this team pushes for a playoff run, what really stands out is the foresight. Omar Khan didn't just build for this season, he positioned Pittsburgh to dominate the next era. Those 12 draft picks waiting in the 2026 offseason? That's ammunition. Flexibility. The kind of capital that allows you to reload instead of rebuild. The Steelers could easily find themselves in a position where, as Rodgers' contract expires, they've got the means to draft and develop the next franchise quarterback without skipping a beat. And that's the point. Sustainability. That's what this organization values more than the quick fix. Because banners last forever, but dysfunction lasts longer, and the Steelers refuse to join the list of franchises that implode chasing one trophy. Still, not everyone sees it that way. Some fans, and I get it, want to see that all-in moment, the splash move, the extra trade at the deadline, the we're one player away gamble. Maybe that's the impatience of the modern NFL talking, where everyone wants instant results. But look at what this approach has produced. 2 decades without a losing season, multiple playoff runs, and a front office that's never panicked. It's a model that prioritizes stability and pride, something rare in a league obsessed with quick payoffs. And let's not underestimate how important Mike Tomlin is to this entire equation. He's the constant, the link between eras, the same voice that's guided this franchise through transition after transition without ever losing the locker room. No matter who the quarterback is, Roethlisberger, Trubisky, Pickett, now Rodgers, this team fights, competes, and refuses to fold. That's not luck, that's leadership, that's the Steelers' standard. And it's that same standard that gives this current roster a chance to make real noise in January, even without making every big-name move that fans might have wanted. So maybe the question isn't whether the Steelers should have gone all in. Maybe it's whether we, as fans, can appreciate the beauty of what's being built, a contender for today that's also secure for tomorrow. Because when you zoom out and look at what this organization represents, the history, the discipline, the consistency, it's clear that this is not just about one season. It's about preserving the legacy of Pittsburgh football. It's about proving that you can win championships without losing your identity. So let me throw this to you, Steelers Nation. Are you buying into this vision? Do you believe this patient, calculated approach is the right path toward another Lombardi? Or do you think it's time for the front office to push every chip to the middle of the table and go all in, no matter the cost? Let me know your thoughts down below. And if you believe in this kind of deep dive, no fluff Steelers coverage, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and check out the other videos on screen right now. Because this conversation, it's just getting started. Here we go, Steelers. Because if there's one thing every true Steelers fan understands deep down, it's that greatness isn't built overnight. It's maintained through decades of discipline. What we're witnessing right now is not the desperation of a franchise trying to recapture its glory, but the quiet confidence of one that never lost its way. While the rest of the league swings wildly between rebuilds and collapses, Pittsburgh remains steady, still relevant, still dangerous, still feared. And this version of the Steelers, under Omar Khan's strategic vision, feels like it's writing the next great chapter of that legacy. Let's not forget what this organization's foundation really means. It's the Rooney philosophy, patient leadership, smart roster construction, and trust in their people. You see it everywhere. The draft classes Khan has put together look like the blueprint of a future dynasty. Broderick Jones, Joey Porter Jr., Keanu Benton, Troy Fautanu, Zach Frazier, these aren't just names. They're building blocks.